So this high-profile tasing case with Sterling Brown is raising questions about race and police here in Milwaukee.
So to talk about strategies to build better community relations, all of this and talk more about it is Reggie Moore, Director of Milwaukee's Office of Violence Prevention. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Heard from the mayor, we heard from the police chief, trust, building trust. Do we have to build it, rebuild it? Where do we start?
Right. It is a critical element. If we're going to get anywhere as a community in the conversation around police community relations, healing, public safety, that will only move at the speed of trust.
Well, with the Office of Violence Prevention, you guys have produced this blueprint of peace, and you address some of the issues and concerns that many people in the community have about that community-police relationship. What are one of the top goals you see that the department needs to address in healing that fractured relationship?
Right. One of the greatest risk factors that the community identified from the onset was community government trust. And that permeates many different systems, but obviously the relationship between the community and law enforcement was a key component of that, given their role with public safety. And so within the blueprint, there are 3 specific strategies that were called out related to improving police community relations. One of those deals with, number 1, training in the areas of crisis intervention, fair and impartial policing, and procedural justice. I think when we look at what happened on the videotape, definitely a violation of procedural justice, and obviously that's what led to the discipline. The other piece is looking at implicit bias, microaggression reduction, and de-escalation training.
So all of that starts at the academy?
I think it starts at the academy, and I think it permeates throughout.
All right. Has to start at the top as well in terms of leadership. Correct. So how do you get it, and is it at the academy right now?
There are elements of implicit bias training that have been implemented, but what the community is calling for is that they be increased. And I think this also aligns with the recommendations from the community to the DOJ report that is also being released.
Reggie, as an African-American man, do you see the implicit biases that the community brings up when it comes to their interaction with police on a daily?
Absolutely. I mean, growing up in this community, I've experienced it personally. And so it's unfortunate that you will be hard pressed to find an African-American male in particular who may not have had a negative interaction with law enforcement. And so it's very clear that there's a cultural and systemic issue that has to be addressed. But I believe we can get there, but we have to be honest and accountable.
Sterling Brown has certainly brought more attention to this case, but people all across the city will probably say it's happened already before this. So what do you think can change as a result of this video?
I think with any issue, it comes down to public will. It comes down to the will of the community to demand justice and to pursue it and to stay consistent. But it also is on the role of city leaders and law enforcement leadership to be responsive to what they're hearing and what they're seeing, and make the necessary policy and practice changes that are critical to improving trust.
Reggie, thank you. We only had a few minutes, but I appreciate you giving more perspective into this issue as it develops.
Thank you.
All right. Brown and the Bucks had more to say about the confrontation. You can read both of their statements in their entirety and keep up with this continuing coverage on our website at tmj4.com as well as your mobile app.